So, hello Facebook, hello YouTube, it's Marilyn Devonish here from transformationstm.com, and I'm going to do the Facebook Live video that I'd planned to do yesterday. I was going to do it yesterday evening, and then the news about Kobe Bryant started to break, and so you just thought I'd kind of leave that. However, I've also then had messages in, because I'd shared about the article, which is what I was going to do, because I went out and bought the newspaper yesterday because I was featured in a magazine article about tarot, and people then started kind of asking, well, what about tarot and bereavement, because I've seen you talk about that before. And I have, and I think probably the reason why that then becomes prominent in people's minds, because this is the picture from the newspaper article, the magazine article, and it says the fortune teller. So I didn't choose that picture, because when I shared it in my e-newsletter list, and I shared it earlier in the day on my Facebook pages, that's the picture that comes up, because that's the picture that is attached to the magazine article. So people were then asking about, well, okay, tarot, fortune teller, bereavement, life, death, etc. So and I'll say a little bit about it now, but I think what my preference will be to maybe do a video about that at another time, because I think today's quite a raw day for many people, but just kind of in a nutshell in terms of what people are asking about, and the cards and bereavement and tarot. The thing the blog you're probably referring to is the one that I wrote where I had a particular deck of cards. Now, normally when I get a deck of cards, like it doesn't even touch the mat. I'm like straight in there, ripping it open and getting into the cards. On this particular occasion, the cards arrived in the envelope. I felt the box, knew immediately what it was. I ripped the top of the envelope open. I looked inside and I was like, oh, actually, I don't want to look at those. I'll just leave those. So I just put them on the side, still in the bubble wrap envelope. And they sat for about a year, which is just unheard of and crazy for me when I get a new deck. And then a year or so later, I was like, oh, you're being silly, Marilyn. Just open the cards. So I go to the bubble wrap envelope, I take the deck out. It was still in cellophane. So I used my finger, and then when it didn't work, I used the end of my letter opener, and I broke through the cellophane on the bottom, lifted the lid, took a look at the top. The book was on the top, and I just closed the deck and I just put it back again. I'm like, this is mad, what's going on? And then I happened to be it was when I launched my transformation program, so that would have been about 5 or 6 years ago now. I was doing a session with someone, and she was talking about a death of her father, and it was raw. And then she said something like, I said, oh, my condolences, when did he pass away? And she said something like 30 years ago. And I was like, did she say what I thought she said? Because she was talking as though it happened, in the last couple of weeks, last couple of months. So she did confirm the number. I was like, wow. And then the voice in my head said, use the cards. I was like, no, this is not what this session is about. And it came back again. So I just said to her, I says, look, I've got this deck of cards. I've never used them before. They're called Talking to Heaven. Would you like a reading? So she says, oh my God, yeah, that'd be amazing. So we did the reading. Still get goosebumps when I think about it. And pick a card at random, as you guys who do, the free Tarot Tuesday Facebook Live readings every month in the membership group will know. Pick the cards face down so I don't see what they are before I turn them over. So I pick a card, and she just went, oh my God, that's exactly one of the phrases my dad used to use and what he used to say to me. So shuffle again, pick another card, exactly the same thing happened. And the reading for her was absolutely spot on. So that was a bit like, whoa. And then the cards went back on the shelf. Several months, didn't touch them. I was then doing a Skype coaching session with someone who's just getting ready to move out. She's either out in Australia or just getting ready to move to Australia. And she's talking, and she had lost her husband very young, in her 30s. And the voice comes into my head, oh, you should use those cards. I'm like, I will not use those cards. This is a breakthrough coaching session. So I'm kind of the thought keeps coming, the thought keeps coming. And for those of you who've worked with me, I've kind of got a 3 times convincer. So she's talking, and I can hear this voice in my head saying, use the cards. And then I went to say something, and the screen, the Skype screen, my screen went black, and a name flashed up on the screen. And it was a man's name. It wasn't. And I was like, okay. So we then kind of, restart, blah, blah. I said, oh, it's really weird. I said, look, I'll just tell you what happened. And I said, I was thinking about, and I explained about the cards in the deck, etc. And she went, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And I told her the name that I put, and she went, oh, that's my husband, my ex, not ex, but her deceased husband's name. She laughed and she says, that's exactly the sort of thing he would do. So I get the deck, do the reading, exactly the same thing that happened for my transformation program client a few months prior happened for her, exactly, pretty much word for word. And a few months ago, a friend, her partner passed away, good friend of mine, and I was just sat here at this desk and I was thinking about her. I was thinking about him. It was a couple of days after he died. And the voice came back again and said, pick a card for her. Now, if you know me, I will never pick a card for you unannounced. But I picked the card and I photographed it. And I kind of thought, oh, I don't know. And then I decided to send the card. And I got a message back from her, and I just remember kind of her reaction to that. And she says, "Oh, Marilyn, I can't remember. She was in the post office or something like that." And she said, "I'm standing here and I'm crying." And I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And she says, she said, "That's just what I needed to hear, and that is just the perfect message for today. Thank you so much." And again, it was something that her partner and even the pictures, there's a particular flower that they liked, and they had a special place where they would go in London, and that was all on the picture. And then she said, "Oh, can you post that on my Facebook page? I'd like other people to see it." So that's what I did. And so, whenever that deck pops up, it is just ridiculously timely and always quite insistent about kind of when it wants to pop up. So that's that. So that's kind of, the way I would kind of link the two. And gosh, there was a lovely lady, some of you know her name's Sunny. And I mention her name because Sunny always says, you have carte blanche to share anything that we've worked on together. And it was the same thing with her. She'd had a friend pass away from cancer at quite a young age. And so I'd said to, Sunny, would you like me to pick a card for you from this deck? And I picked a card. It's probably because I did the blog. It's in the blog. There was something that she and her friend used to share. And Sunny had walked down to the dock on that day and had commented on the sun, and the card I picked it looked exactly like that. And then there was something that happened that night where I was just sat at my desk. I thought, what's that? And there was a weird shape on the wall. And as I looked at it, I'm thinking, I recognize that. Let me photograph it and think. And I was like, oh, it's the light. It's the same light that Sunny had seen at the dock, that was on the tarot card, and that was now in my room. And that actually, it sits behind me. I don't know if you can see that yellow and blue card behind me. That's a card from Sunny from ages ago, but I just really like the picture, so I just leave it up on my shelf. So there are some interesting things that happen in that genre. So that's what I'll say about that one for now. Actually, you're probably gonna go, what's the deck? Let me grab it for you. I just show you. Where is it? Oh, actually, yeah. Oh, and talking of decks, I've got one more deck of my coaching cards available. So the link for that is on my page. So this is the deck of cards that kind of sat for ages, for a couple of years. And funnily enough, back in the day when Doreen Virtue was still in this line of work, she and Radley Valentine were in London. It was a big conference. She was teaching a tarot course. And I asked her a question from the audience, and I explained this whole scenario about the deck. And I said, this is one with, this is from James Van Prague, who there's been a TV kind of series about him and his experiences of talking to dead people. So I'd asked about this phenomenon where I just normally I'm in like Flynn when I get a deck, and I couldn't touch this one. And both of them said, actually, they had exactly the same thing, and it's not a deck that they use all the time. It's one that only comes out on the occasions in the way that I described. So at that point I was like, oh phew, I feel a bit better now, that I just wasn't being crazy. So this is the deck, and as I'll show you, they all look exactly the same on the back. So when I'm doing readings for people, I choose them so I'm looking at the cards this way, so I can see the back of the cards and I don't see the front until I've actually picked one. And then once I've picked one, I will then kind of, for example, this one says I feel healthy and happy. So there'll be a message around this, particularly if somebody, you're worrying about how people are on the other side, etc. So that's all I'm going to say about that one for now, given the current situation. We'll leave that there, but just to answer that question in a nutshell. So what I was going to do yesterday, actually, let me do that first. So but I'm not going to fiddle with my PC. I'll just look at it on here for a sec. So I saw a message bubble pop up. It's weird. I have to figure that out actually. Sorry, I'm just looking at the yeah, I have to. Somebody knows. Tell me. I'll have to figure it out because I was running. I had switched off Facebook, so it's not binging and boing. But I've noticed that even when I'm not logged into Facebook, it will still make loads of noise. Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Fab. Good. Excellent. And I will send you the link to the blog once I finish this video. I can't post it now because I'm in a different platform. I'm not in Facebook. I am, of course, I'm broadcasting live to Facebook, but I'm not in Facebook per se, because they sent me a message saying, could I post the link to the blog about the tarot and bereavement? So the answer to that is yes. Actually, I don't think I can. Pretty sure I can't. Nah. So I will go, when I finished, I'll go to I'll send it to you in Messenger, but I'll also go to the link of this video in case anyone else wants to read it. So that's that. Alrighty, so to the unveiling, because I actually want to now read the article myself, but it's in cellophane. So I was going to do this last night. So I was at home yesterday and got a message from a journalist that I did an interview with, and she said, "Oh, just to let you know, you're featured in the Mail today, the Mail on Sunday." So it's pouring with rain, and about half an hour before, I was like, "Oh man, it's been ages. It's been several weeks since I've seen or heard rain," and I was inside watching and listening to the rain because I've been on the deck chair surrounded by palm trees for the last few weeks. And then I get this message and I says, is it online or in print? Because now a lot of the times when you write nowadays, it's online rather than a physical magazine. She said, oh, both. So I looked at the online version first of all. Actually, I think I might have, here's one I've read earlier. So I looked at the online version, had a quick glance at that. But I was like, do you know what, if it's actually in physical print, I'd really like a copy. So decided then, I'm like, oh, there's me talking about having not had to interact with rain for several weeks. Now I've got to get myself out. So boots, coat, umbrella, gloves, off I go to pick up a copy of the magazine. But it is online if you kind of want to read it online, but there is the physical version of it as well. So I'm walking now to the store, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what section it's in. Then I get there and I see that it's like paranormal. So I was like, okay, I don't need to guess what section it's in. So it's in this pack. It's the You magazine, which is that one there. I have not seen it yet, and I purposely haven't read it yet either. I just glanced at the online bit. Open it in the middle. So I thought I'd unveil it and we'd read it together. See what I said. All right. So come here, you, in the nicest possible way. Oh my gosh. Special paranormal edition. They speak to spirits and remember their past lives. You meet Britain's most psychic kids. So that's what they're opening with. Let me just show you that one. And let me just find Don't be boring. Believe in ghosts. It's been a long time since I flipped through this. Yeah, I don't know what page it's on, so I'm just having a. Okay, so my night's most haunted. Interesting. Aha, here we go. So for those of you who have got this magazine, it's on pages 26 and 27. So this is the actual article itself. It's actually really unusual nowadays to have something in physical print. When I first started writing, everything was magazines. I've got boxes of magazines upstairs. I shared the picture a couple of days ago for those who follow me on social media. And it opens with, so it's called Things You Only Know When You're a Tarot Reader. It says, in these uncertain times, more and more of us are turning to these ancient cards for guidance. It's a huge responsibility for the reader, as deck devotee Flick Everett explains. And then kind of we're gonna go into that. Ooh. And actually, funnily enough, about a year ago, I shared a link where the BBC had done an article that said in the wake of Trump and Brexit, they were finding that there had been a resurgence of tarot in the business community. Businessmen, businesswomen, organizations, companies were actually turning to tarot as a way of getting guidance and getting more certainty in what is an increasingly uncertain world. Oh, it's a long piece, actually. 3 pages. Okay, so here we go. I'm recognized chartered accountant, so that must be me. Right, so we'll start from this segment here. So this is my segment here about they tell people deep down what they already know. That's the quote from the lovely Lisa. Right, so it says, but Marilyn Devonish, who changed her career from chartered accountant to hypnotherapist and tarot reader and works regularly with business people, is convinced that the tarot is invaluable. That is very true. I told one client she'd be offered 2 jobs and she'd have to choose. She said it didn't make any sense as she'd taken redundancy, says Marilyn. Soon after, she went for a job interview, and on the way home, she met an old colleague. She told him she'd been for an interview, and he said, I didn't know you were available. I want you to come and work for me. And so I said apparently in the reading that you're going to be offered 2 jobs and they're going to be fighting over you and you're going to have to choose, which when you're not working at all is like, really? And then that's what happened on the same day. She did one interview, was on her way home, meets her old boss, and now they're both vying for her. I've said I've been doing this for 19 years and things like this still blow me away. Marilyn agrees with Jung's theories. They'd written about Carl Jung earlier in the article. Marilyn agrees with Jung's theories and explains, I don't go around reading willy-nilly. I only read for people who give permission, and when they do, I feel I'm in their energy field and that the stream between us is open. Like me, she says, I don't see it as predicting the future, more about telling people what they already know deep down or what's likely to happen. Sometimes the same message will come up in subsequent readings until they act on it. And sometimes it won't make sense at the time, but will a few years later. Cool. And then she's closing off with talking about herself and that kind of seldomly kind of reading tarot. But that's cool. That's cool. And for those of you who are on my e-newsletter list, and again, a few days before I even kind of knew this was all, going to be out, this week, I was putting together a very late offer of the month for my e-newsletter list. And I was like, what should I choose? And the voice was like, let's do a tarot coaching package, which I've never offered before. So for those of you who are on my e-newsletter list, that landed in your email inbox around about, where would we be now? Probably about 10 a.m. this morning. And so there's a 3, 6 month or 12 month tarot and coaching package available, and it's kind of 10% off if you're in my e-newsletter list. So the kind of the promo code, the coupon code is there for that. So yeah, it's interesting, and I don't know, with the clients that I am surrounded by, they all love tarot. As I was explaining to the journalist, when I first learned tarot about 20 23 years ago. At first I just used to use it for myself and some of my friends, and then kind of I realized that thing that now happens every single month in the membership group when I do the Facebook lives. People are like, oh my god, that's spot on. And oftentimes we've had many of those instances where I remember when I first started doing the readings back in October, I think it was October 2016 now, one of the very first Facebook live sessions, because I do individual readings for everyone in the membership group if they want a reading. And I'd read for someone, and I was talking, I don't know, I felt myself going on about organic vegetables, getting more organic vegetables and getting a second opinion, random. She wasn't on the live, but she watched the video replay, and she says, oh my God, I was out today. It's the reason why I wasn't there live. She said, I'd been to the hospital previously, and I decided I was going to get a second opinion, which is what I talked about in the reading. And she said, on the way home, because now she's thinking about health, so I just decided to just go and get some organic vegetables. It's like, huh? There was somebody on the group where I was saying, you don't strike me as a type of person who takes a nap. But this month it feels really key that, taking a nap would be really quite pivotal, important, yada, yada, yada. She wasn't on the live. She then comes in at like 20 something minutes later and said, oh, sorry, I'm late. I was taking a nap. And I thought it was because she'd heard the reading that she said that. So I said, did you hear the reading that I did for you? Half an hour ago. She was like, no. And so what I did eventually, because that happened every single month, what I decided to do is I went back and I sat down, I watched some of the videos, and I actually sat and I was at my desk and I typed up a transcript of exactly what I'd said word for word. And then I put that with what people then fed back in the membership group and just did a cut and paste of their words. No editing. And that's all on a comparison blog, so you can see what I said on the reading, you can see what happened or what they came back and said, because often, there was one of the readings I'd said, burning the candle at both ends, and it really feels like you're mothering people. And what I really feel it will be important for you to do now is look at delegating, getting somebody else to share the load. She watched a video, she's like, you're not going to believe this. She says, because I've been feeling like I've been burning the candle at both ends, and in my line of work I am, she said, I actually am mothering people to get them through this process. She said, today I had a meeting with someone to delegate some of that off and take the weight off my shoulders. Pretty much word for word what I'd said in the reading. So that happens a lot. It's just, I said this has happened. So it's very cool stuff. So what I'll do after I finish this video, I'll put the link in for the bereavement tarot piece. I'll also put the link in the description for the tarot comparison piece. You can see what I'd said on the Facebook live readings. You can see what people reported. And also I got somebody, one of my lovely clients and friends, Kate Thomas, had given me a deck based on the work of the artist Banksy. The cards are really out there. They're just like, whoa. And I looked at them, I'm like, they're really nice, but how do I read with these? And it's like, my other brain was like, Marilyn, you're always saying you could read with playing cards, so what's the big deal? I was like, okay. So I decide then to go on to my main Facebook page. I did a Facebook live and I just says, look, is there anyone out there who would like a reading? I've got this new deck. Don't know how it's going to go, but let's just go for it. And a lovely lady called Frantonia Pollins, and I mentioned Frantonia's name because she's given me permission to share this story, and it was all on Facebook Live anyway. So she comes on. I don't know Frantonia, I just know her from her Facebook presence. She's out in America, I'm here in the United Kingdom. So I start doing this reading for Frantonia. I see I've got goosebumps as I already start saying the words, and I hear a woman's voice talking. And the woman is saying something very specific. She's telling me what to say to Frantonia, but she was phrasing it in a way that I'd never speak to someone, because she kept calling her baby. I'm like, dude, I don't know this woman, and we're only Facebook friends, and I can't start addressing her like that. But in the end, she was so insistent. I says, Frantonia, look, I don't know if this is going to make any sense to you. And I relay the message, and I said, it feels like someone who's matriarchal, patriarchal, I got goosebumps again, like a grandmother figure. And I said the words, and she went, that's my Granny Gracie. She used to say that to me all the time. And then Granny Gracie, like, now the door's open, she is off on one, and she's telling me off as well for something, you know, she kept saying you really should write your book and you should do this and you do that. But the messages that she had for Frantonia and what was coming through on the readings, and there are a few things I didn't say in their entirety, but I gave the gist of them because I could feel how private they were, let me put it that way. But then Frantonia's come back and I said exactly what's been going on, and she was, you know, she was typing into the Facebook comments while I'm speaking. Actually, let me show you, I think the deck is the top one. Let me just show you the cards. You can see how out there they are. I love them, and they're out there, and they're not like your traditional so I'll just show you a couple of them just so you get the gist. Hi, Annika. Hey, good afternoon. Barry Thomas says, good afternoon, Your Highness. Why, thank you, Mr. Thomas. Love Barry Thomas. He does a show. Seriously, when I've got things to do, I must remember not to listen to the Barry Thomas show on a Sunday afternoon, because I just cannot switch that thing off. His show is off the charts, amazing. The BTM Club on the beat. Right, so these are, go that way. So these are some of the cards, just so you can get a sense of, it's all of Banksy's artwork, so all the stuff that Banksy has done over the years. And as you can see what I mean, you know, the cards are quite, when I say out there, quite out there and controversial. And so I'm looking at these going, how do I read through these? Well, what's going to come up? I've got no idea, because they're just so different, so different. Ooh, and seriously, when I say they're out there, let me just show you that one. I mean, out there, out there. So Frantonia comes on, we do this reading. It was freaking mind-blowing, and I could actually hear Granny Gracie speaking to me. She was standing there. And Frantonia's like, yeah, that's exactly what she used to say. Yes, that's exactly her personality. That's exactly what she was like. So I'll also find the link to that YouTube video, and I'll post it in. There's going to be a lot in the description of this video now, just so you can see for yourself how that unfolded, because it all unfolded on Facebook Live in real time, with Frantonia typing and me speaking, and we've never met, we'd never spoken, we'd never had any other connection apart from me seeing her pictures of her doing a TED talk on her Facebook page. That was it. So, you know, all I can say is this stuff works in mysterious ways. It's kind of one of the things that Flick, the journalist who kind of wrote this piece, was asking me during the interview. She says, oh, you know, tarot is one of those things that's quite scary for people. So what do you do when you deliver news that scares your clients? And I says, Flick, I have to be honest with you. In the 20 odd years I've been reading tarot, that has never happened. My clients always go away feeling enlightened. They feel empowered. They have a sense of what I call clarity, those light bulb moments, those aha moments. In the 22, 23 years that I've been doing readings, I have never, ever had that happen. And I think one of the reasons is when you see how tarot is often depicted generally in what I call pop culture, you know, things like the Death card and the Tower card and the Hanged Man, even when you say the names of those cards, they're quite foreboding. And when you look at something like the original Rider-Waite deck, my brain is like, that was not the original. It's like, you know what I mean? The original, you know, tarot was originally kind of, you know, Italian playing cards. But when I say original, I mean when it first came into popular usage, let's say, rather than the original tarot cards. Okay, my brain is like, thank you for the explanation. So let's just go with the earlier commercial decks, the Rider-Waite deck. When you look at the images of that, it is a little bit scary, you know, when you see the Death card and you see the Tower card. But when you explain to people what that actually means, and you also put it into context for them, that's when I'm like, oh my God, amazing, makes perfect sense. So some of my client testimonials are up on my website, and their names are there as well. Often there's links to their own websites, just so you can see it's real people, because I had a conversation with a Facebook friend of mine yesterday, and I had done a free prize draw giving away a $180 guest pass, Hollywood Masterclass guest pass, where you've got a 12 months access to people like Martin Scorsese and Ron Howard and Misty Copeland and Dame Helen Mirren and Shonda Rhimes, and oh my God, the list is endless. I am blown away. Jodie Foster, Tootsie, seriously, when I, Dustin Hoffman, when I look at the number of celebrities and A-listers and Hollywood stars that are in the masterclass and they do video classes, amazing. And so she won this, and I said, and she sent me put a really lovely post on my Facebook page. So scroll down to yesterday, you'll see it. And I said to her, would you mind just, when you've got a minute, just cut and paste that, put it into Google reviews for me, because somebody has asked if I'm really giving away a £200 guest pass just for entering a prize draw. And she's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I am not kidding you. I've had people accuse me of making up my client results and making up all of the glowing testimonials and the transformational, life-changing stories, because I often say a client said, someone said, and that's because my clients will say, oh yeah, you can share that, but I'd rather you didn't name me. So where people are willing to give their names and are willing to share, then that's always wonderful. So you can actually go back to the source of those comments. So if you go to my main website, let me show you what that is. If you go to my main website, it's transformationstm.com. For those who might be listening rather than watching, it's www.trance, T-R-A-N-C-E, as in hypnotic transformation, starts F for Freddy, so FORMATIONS.TM.com. On this occasion, it'll be /tarot readings. But go to the main website, click on the kind of coaching sessions. There's a drop down menu. It will take you through the tarot page, and you can read people's feedback in their own words. If you've got any questions, if you've got any queries, you can drop me an email. It's Marilyn, MARILYN @transformationstm.com. And if you want to head on over to the blog yourself, it's marilyndevonish.com, and Devonish is DEV for Victor, ONISH. So you'll find the blogs, but there's hundreds of blogs on there. So I think there's a tab that says Angel Tarot, but I'll put the link in anyway, just to help you find it. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, and if you've got any questions, if you've got any queries, please feel free. You can drop them in the comments. You can DM me or drop me an email, and I will do my best to answer. And I can most probably point you in the direction of a blog that I've written, or a video that I've done. And what will be coming on stream this year is doing more podcasting as well. So yeah, that's it really. So thank you so much to Flick for the inclusion and the interview. Always nice to be featured in something. Thank you to everyone who's read the article and brought the newspaper. That's fabuloso. And if you would like to book one of the tarot coaching packages, then I'll put the link up for that as well. And for those of you in my e-newsletter list, the 10% off the prices that are on the link that I'll share more publicly, those prices are valid till the end of today. For those of you who are in a different time zone, technically speaking, that's going to be tomorrow afternoon for you guys. But let's just say you've got like a 24-hour window if you wanted to get that extra 10% off either a 3-month, 6-month or 12-month reading. Cool. Well, thank you so much to Annika and Barry and Sarah and those of you who are watching. Thank you so much if you've watched the replay as well. And if you know anyone who could benefit from this stuff, please feel free to share the video with them. That would be fantastic. And yeah, wishing you all an incredible, fabulous, wonderful, amazing week. And as I was saying in the piece that I wrote for my membership group yesterday, I guess I would call it a 7-point plan for how to deal with life and death, and kind of finding yourself in those dark spaces and how to get yourself out the other side when things seem pointless and crazy and hopeless and all the rest of it, which is the kind of space that I think many people found themselves in yesterday when they heard the news. So that's up in the group as well if you wanted to go and have a read of that. I reread it this morning, and it was a bit like actually doing a tarot reading, because I looked at it and immediately one of them just lit up like a beacon, and I was like, actually, do you know what, just that paragraph there is exactly what I needed to be reminded of today. So if you haven't had a read, go and have a read. And if you did read it when I posted it last night, my suggestion is to go back, get the whole thing in front of you on screen, close your eyes, take a deep breath. The question I said to myself is, okay, what do I most need to kind of, help me get clarity and focus today? Open my eyes, and one of them, it's like there was a light behind it. So you might want to have a play with it in that way, of those seven pieces that I put up. Cool. Cool. Well, wishing you a fantastic, incredible final week of God, it's final week of 2020 already. Where is the time going? Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the likes and the shares, and I will catch you all later. Bye bye.